All right, y'all. Happy Tuesday in honor of Crazy Hair Day. I got a weird little top knot thing going. Hope everybody had a great weekend. And let's jump in with the rewind, and then I'll walk you through a couple practice problems, and then I'm going to turn you guys loose on Delta Math. That's kind of the lay of the land for today. Okay, so I wanted to start with the first problem here. It tells us that Genesis bought some carrots. She paid $4. Noah has more money. How many carrots can he buy? So hopefully you guys were able to recognize that this is a ratio problem, right? We have $7 getting us 4 carrots, and over here we have $16. We have a ratio for Genesis. We have a ratio for Noah, right? And those two ratios need to be equal because the carrots cost the same amount of money, okay? And hopefully in this problem, you were able to recognize that, hey, Noah has 4 times as much money to buy carrots in this word problem. And so he should be able to buy 4 times as many carrots, okay? So 7 times 4 gives us 28, okay? And the problems that we're going to be looking at today are going to deal with a proportion that's set up like this, where we have a missing value and we're trying to solve for it, but they're not going to start with word problems. We're going to bring that back in tomorrow. We're just going to be dealing kind of with the naked numbers within these ratio equals ratio problems. Okay, and kind of the thinking that's going to go with that connects back to skill 6, which we worked on a couple weeks ago. And the big idea here is that to get k by itself, we need to get rid of this number in the bottom, right? These problems have numbers in the bottom too, and we're going to approach them very much the same way. In order to get rid of our 3 on the bottom, this is our far away friend. We're going to multiply by 3. That's going to cancel. If I do that on that side of my equal sign, I got to do it over here too. And what I end up with is k minus 7 equals 9. Okay, and now all of a sudden our problem doesn't have any fractions anymore. And it's hopefully a little bit easier of one to solve. Get rid of minus 7 by adding 7. And we're left with k equals 16. Okay, hopefully you got 28 and 16 as part of your rewind. Okay, now I need you to get your boat books out. We're continuing with skill 8, ratios and proportions, and I need this problem in your boat books. I need this problem in your boat books. P over 6 equals 2 over 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that written in. P over 6 equals 2 over 3. Hopefully from this problem, you notice that if we multiply by 2, we can get our answer pretty easily. The answer is 4. But I want to walk you through a different way to do this. If we ever run into decimals or if we have negative numbers or problems that are a little bit trickier, this process will help us get there, even if it's not an easy problem like this one. Okay, so the idea with this type of problem is we can basically get rid of our denominators. We can make these problems so they don't have fractions anymore. And the idea here is if I multiply on this side times 3, that 3 is going to cancel with the 3 on the bottom, and all of a sudden, I don't have a fraction anymore. I just have 2. But in order for me to do that, right, I have to do it on both sides of my equal sign, so I'm going to multiply by 3 over here as well. Okay, and then I can basically do the same thing, right? I still haven't gotten rid of this number in the bottom of my fraction, so I can multiply by 6 in order to do that, right? Now that 6 is gone, 3 is already gone, and what I'm left with, when I multiply 6 on both sides, what I'm left with is just a 3 and a p over here. 3 times p is 3p, and then on this side of the equal sign, my 3's canceled, and what I'm left with is 2 times 6, which is just 12. Right? And now we've gotten this problem to a place where it's just a one-step equation, and we know we can just divide by 3 to get p equals 4. Okay? So make sure that this is the answer you have in your boat books. These are the type of problems that are going to be on the Delta Math assignment today. I wanted to take a look at one more, though, and I made it harder in 2 ways. Okay? This problem says negative 10 over 5 equals 4 over 6, right? So one of the ways that this problem, one of the ways that I made this problem harder is by putting my variable on the bottom, right? That's no longer on the top of one of my ratios, it's the denominator. So we're gonna have to figure out how to deal with that. And then also we've got this negative sign out front. So let's deal with that first, okay? This says that the fraction 10 over 5 is negative, but I can basically decide that one of these parts of the fraction is negative instead, right? Negative divided by positive is still a negative, so I haven't actually changed anything, but moving the negative up here makes my process a little easier as I go. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to move the negative sign up onto my numerator, up onto the 10. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did before, right? To get rid of this 5 on the bottom, I'm going to multiply by 5 on both sides, right? The 5 here cancels with the 5 on the bottom. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. To get rid of this denominator, even though it's not a number, I can still multiply by x to cancel out with the x on the bottom, right? The only rule is that I have to do whatever I would do on one side, I got to do it on the other. Okay, and what I'm left with on my two sides of my equal sign, over here I have 4 and 5. 4 times 5 is 20. And over here I have negative 10 times x, and that's just negative 10x. Okay, and once again, I've gotten to this to a place where it's just a one-step equation. To get rid of a multiplied by negative 10, I'm going to do the opposite, which is divide by negative 10. The negative 10s cancel, and what I'm left with is negative 2. Okay, so go ahead and take a peek at Delta Math. There's a little reminder on how to get there on the next slide. The rest of the lesson today is on Delta Math, so make sure you guys understand how to solve these type of problems and show me you can get the right answer on some proportion problems through Delta Math. Have a great day. I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. All right, bye.